keep it in sync with the regular courthouse?
Well, of course we would. Now let me tell you what's happening across the state, just so you know. The Administrative Office of Court has gone out and they've built these wonderful big justice centers.
Yes.
Guess what happens to the old courthouses? Nobody knows. Just like Grandma's car. They're too good to tear down and too useless to throw away. You know, what do you do with them? So in Adair County, where I grew up, they got this big courthouse sits in the middle of the square, and they're trying to raise money to refurbish it. And they built the justice. What sense does that make? None. So I'm saying, let's attach it to the courthouse that we have. Let's use some of that space. But let me tell you something else. We get about $200,000 from AOC for renting our courthouse. That's 2 dump trucks a year, or 4 police cruisers, or an ambulance every other year. I mean, that's the way you got to think about that. I do not want to give up that stream of income, and I want the courthouse attached to the one we have right now. If y'all are for me, let's hear a little amen. All right. But that's going to be, and they, AOC, bless their hearts, they have all these grandiose ideas. They said you're going to need, I think, 300 new parking spaces. I said, we're not going to have any more business because we've got a new courthouse. I prosecuted for 12 years. I promise they don't come for the parking.
But you did say it would be an architectural keeping with the courthouse.
Well, sure. I mean, I didn't get elected because I don't know how to play with the people of Boyle County. It's not going to look like something that we built. It would fit architecturally. It's got to fit, and it can. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be, but that is going to be a battle, and we're going to enjoin all you people in that battle. Okay. I appreciate it. Pardon me. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Paul, earlier you spoke about the growth over the next 40 years and you're planning for the growth and so forth. So what is your vision of what our growth is going to look like? I mean, how big will we be in 40 years?
Well, our study, and I can't tell you, population-wise what I'm projecting for Danville. We had to look at our entire service area in a water model study. And we're looking at having to supply up to 12 million gallons a day of potable water for Danville, Boyle County, and our resulting wholesale customers. And that accommodates, a reasonable amount of growth in population and development in the city and the county, as well as accommodating the counties that we go into, because our water ends up in Mercer County, it ends up in Lincoln County, it ends up in Garrett County. The city of Houstonville, we're their sole source of water. I don't know how many of you knew that, but the city of Houstonville, if we turn the spigot off, they're buying bottled water, and that's why I often talk about the city of Danville being a good steward of a precious resource. And as Jody has been wont to educate us, is that when we talk about this valuable resource, we have to take a regional approach and understand that what's good for our region is good for our community, it's good for Danville, it's good for Boyle County, Perryville, Junction City, and we're trying to be a good steward of that precious resource. But sometimes people don't understand the regional nature of what we're doing with this, and it makes sense. It makes sense for us. We get economy of scale. We're able to provide the lowest rates in Central Kentucky because we've built in the capacity to wholesale water out to serve other customers, spread the cost of that treatment out, and that's our goal, is to continue to do that. And we do have one of the greatest sources of water in Central Kentucky out here at Harrington Lake. And as I said, we're working with those individuals out there at KU to ensure that that water supply is adequate and ready for our community for the next 40 years.
Harry.
What are you seeing being relative to planning and zone permits, kind of current status? What's the economy, how's the economy reflected in planning permits or permits being requested?
Why don't you take this? We're trying to give this to each other.
Here's what we saw. We saw a surge in about April, I'm going to say, about the time we were doing our budget. We talked to P&Z, and they thought they were going to have a pretty good surge. And I think since that time, Harry, it's gone to nothing. And I don't know that I can explain that, except it's really hard to predict trends. If you saw the consensus forecasting group that advises the governor, I think the last time they met, they said, we can't discern any sort of trend. That's pretty scary stuff, you know, when you're in government. Well, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to go up or down or straight or whatever, but it ain't looking good today, let me tell you. You take the next one, okay?
I'd have to mirror what the judge said, but there are things when you look at all the different data that comes in, we're not going to see a boom in building immediately. It's going to trickle up, but I do think that we are going to see more permits issued. Now, that doesn't mean September is going to be a great month, but I think it's bound to a lot of things going on in economic development here, and fortunately we're not going to give the mic to Jody because he'll take another hour with us here and tell us all the good things that he's been involved in. But we have high expectations that the economic picture is going to continue to gradually improve. And that's probably better than a big boom and then another plunge. So if I had my druthers, it would be very slow, very controlled, so that it stays.
As one of the few rural counties here in this room, can you talk more about internet access, broadband for us out in situations?
Sure. Here's the problem. Now, I'm not technically savvy. I mean, I'm not a technician, but here's the way they simply explained it to me. Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to fire an internet signal to the west. And as it arcs over, we're going to get some people. They're going to get internet. Are you with me? The problem is with our hollows and where people live, they run in the other direction. So we got to go up, pick it up out there, and then we got to fire it back east. And that's what we're trying to do. The key to that process is a rather large tower that was going to be put on, forgive me, I can't remember exactly where it was, who was going to go on. But when we let our bids and we got our stuff ordered, we went out there to go ahead and sign the right-of-way, and he said, nah, I don't want to do that. Well, that's a fairly key piece of what you're doing. You know, it's like, no, I'm not going to give you the front wheels for your car. So that's an issue, but we're going to resolve that. We once again, working with the city of Danville, we're going to have an opportunity, I think, to get up on the water tower at Junction City, and we're going to fire it that direction, which means we're going to be able to put up 3 towers instead of then 3 new towers, and we will try to get it back to everybody. It's been a struggle. I will just tell you, it's been the biggest struggle as far as time goes of what I've done.
Well, we're on the other end of 1273.
Where are you? Now,
We have help.
here's the deal. I understood that you all were served already, and I'm glad to hear stuff like that, because I have been told by the provider that you all were served. But that'll go in the next discussion, I promise you. And if you'll contact me, my office, I won't remember it till I get back, because I'm not writing it down. But if you'll contact my office, I'll make sure that because we want everybody served. Everybody's got to be served, and we will take care of that. We'll make that part of the plan. And I have to apologize to you. I have been told more than once that all that area now has internet available. If it does not, we'll make sure it does. But it's we don't want to do it. We want to get you what you need. All right. Somebody else had a question. One of my favorite people, Chris Peabody. Ask me an easy one, Chris.
Oh, well, you know, Harold, I hate to say it, but I'm going to ask Paul.